for us. Written communication is important because it allows standardization, which can lead to more effective interactions. One of the benefits of written communication is that it provides a quick and easy way for the people who might not be there in the same location to communicate with each other. As a nurse, to have effective communication, that is, as a nurse, you will be responsible for creating and updating the medical records. It is critical that the medical record is accurate and so that the patients can receive the best possible care. At the same time, when we are working with health professionals, we need to have appropriate written communication, which is very much essential part of our work. Today, I'm happy to have with us as guest lecturer, Mrs. Prashansa Gadgil. Ma'am has done her Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Telecommunication. Also, she has done her Executive Postgraduate Diploma in Management, Business Analytics. Right now, ma'am is undergoing TEFL certification, Teaching English as a Foreign Language certification. She has got 12 years of experience in the IT industry in India as well as in the United States. Currently, ma'am is based in United States in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. I hope our students will surely be benefited by your guest lecture.
Sure. Thank you. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, ma'am. I'll just allow the share screen option for you.
Okay.
Yeah, now, ma'am, you can share your presentation.
All right. Okay, so good morning, everybody, and especially to respected principal madam, to all the staff members attending, and also a very warm good morning to all the students. So first of all, I want to thank you all for being here, sparing your 1 hour or 45 minutes of your precious morning time. Not that you had much of a choice, right? But I hope that this few minutes will be worth your time. And so let's get started, basically. So first of all, the topic, which is letter and email writing, right? It seems like a very trivial topic, right? The main intention, of course, is not just focusing on it. It is writing in general, right? Written skills like is completed, you are going to try and apply for a job and get into a nursing college, right? Into a hospital. Some of you might aspire to do some higher studies, right? Maybe go into masters, do your PhD, right? It's not too early to start dreaming of those things, right? You may think I'm just in the first year, but you never know where you will be, right? In a few years, maybe to go abroad, maybe, or for a job or for studies. You might go into some other business jobs which require nursing as an analyst or different kinds of roles. There is a host of options available for nurses these days, right? So the important thing here is, no matter wherever you go, all right, no matter whichever field you choose, what is the first step in all of these different fields? It is nothing but written communication. And you might ask how, right? So no matter how good you are in your patient skills, right? You are now learning to provide patient care and all of that, right? No matter how good you are in your patient care, what is the first thing that a job interviewer, or maybe if you apply for a college, what are they going to first see? right? The first thing that they are going to probably see is your letter of maybe a job application, or maybe if you are applying for a college, maybe a cover letter or something like that, right? There is a very important role that your written skills are going to play in your future perspectives, okay? Not just in your academics, but in your professional life and in your whole career as such, right? Now you may think that, well, I'm just in my first year. Why are we talking about this now, right? The important thing is that by the time you reach your fourth year, you will have a ton of other things that you need to take care of. Assignments, finding a job, and completing your duties, a host of other things. At that time, you will not have the time to focus on written skills, on communication skills. That is not the time for you, right? The best time that you have to become very strong in your skills is to begin now, especially because in your first year, you have a little bit of extra time compared to what you would have when you're in the final year, right? So begin to focus on these little things which will help you throughout your career, basically. Okay. The good habits in communication skills that you might form now will just pay off tremendously later. Okay. um, this will give you a very good competitive advantage compared to some other peers who may be competing for the same kind of jobs, or like if two students apply into a college, there is just one seat. Okay, hypothetical situation. The communication skills of the one of the students is better. That is the first thing that the person who selects you is going to see, right? So it can be very, very advantageous for you if you focus on that, if you improve your skills, not just written, of course, spoken as well. But written is the first impression that you will put on any future prospect for you, right? Um, so yeah, with basically this introduction, is there anything else? Okay. Yeah, I think with this introduction, let me go on to present a few slides about letter writing. Okay, so I'm going to try and share my screen. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So letter and email writing. So we are trying to say that we are kind of focusing on letter and email writing today, but the focus is not just on this. We will just touch a few concepts of grammar just here and there, not too much detail, because the time does not permit a very deep dive into grammar, but just very, very high level. All right. So first of all, letter writing. Parts of a letter. Now, every one of you has written. This is not new to you at all. There is nothing new in this section, basically. So I'm just going to run through this like very, very quickly. All right. So here's just a sample letter out here. Okay. Is the sample letter visible or is it too small?
It is visible, ma'am.
Is visible, right? Okay. Let me know if something is like very small and you need me to zoom in or something like that. Okay.
Yes, surely.
So the first part is like date. Okay. You don't want a letter which does not have a date, right? You never know when the letter was written. Okay. So of course, date. It anywhere to the left, to the right. I mean, I don't think anyone really cares that much as long as you have a date in there. from. Okay, so from is like about you. This is just a random person that I've written. And these days it is more in vogue to write your email and your phone number over there as well, because that is the more accessible way of reaching out to you, right? Then is the to, right? To is obviously who you're writing the letter to. Without getting into much details, I'm moving on to subject. Okay. Sorry, was there a question? Okay. So for the subject is something that we will dive a little bit deeper into later. Okay. Next, we have the greeting, respected whoever you're writing the addressing it to. Okay, it might be your class coordinator, your class teacher, principal, or if you're applying for a job, it could be to the a manager of an organization, etc., or the HR or whatever. Okay. Then comes the content. This is the main gist of your letter, where there is the main reason for you writing the letter, okay, with all the appropriate details and all of this. We'll get into this as well a little bit. After that, you have your closing remarks, where you kind of have a little bit of a summary or a request again, and then some thanks and more formalities related to closing, your signature, of course, a postscript that might be some comment you want to add in the end, or if there are some attachments that you have. For example, in this letter, there was a doctor's appointment. So there's a doctor's note or like, okay, I hear an echo. If someone is not muted, thank you. Then there is a teacher's NOC, right? A no objection certificate. You might have something like these attachments that you have along with your letter. So you're just mentioning that these two are also attached along with. Okay, so these are some more extra additions, right? Now, as part of our lecture today, we kind of have a small quick assignment. Okay. This assignment is going to be, this is a very hypothetical situation. Okay. Just to get us a little active into, we want to write a letter to your principal requesting a leave to attend your sister's wedding. Okay. But before we get into actually writing the letter, we are just going to touch upon some few concepts. Okay. So remember, keep in mind that you're going to kind of do this activity towards like after a few minutes. Now, concepts, some of the concepts that we will check. Okay, so till here, ma'am, are we doing okay? Is there anything you want to add, check, question?
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Okay, so few concepts that we will check. Okay. First is what to write in the subject and content. Okay, just a few examples. Then tenses. Tenses are very important, right? We know the basic like past tense, present tense, future tense. But when it comes to actually writing, are we making sure that we are using the correct tenses? Okay. Then the third point that we are talking about is asking permission, right? In speech. So when you're speaking, how do we ask permission compared to when we're actually writing, okay, in applications, in writing. The fifth thing that we might look at are articles. Now, what are articles? The three words, a, and the, right? These are articles. So we'll be taking a look at when you want to use what, okay? And last, a note on punctuation related to plurals and possessives. We'll see what that is a little bit further. Okay, now what to write in subject, okay? This is very interesting because subject might seem like a very trivial thing, right? When you write a letter or even when you might write an email. The thing is that we might write something like, I want to, like, go home for my sister's wedding, right? Of course, you want to do that. That is your ultimate aim. But when you're focusing on formal letters, when you're focusing on formal emails, okay, now slowly you're entering from student life into professional life. You want to become more professional. You want to become more formal. And the more professional and formal you sound, the better prospects you have for being viewed as a successful professional, right? Be it in your job. So higher authorities will notice you, right? The better language you use, the better words you use, the context, your grammar, everything. So nothing goes unnoticed. If you use bad grammar, if you use informal language, that gets noticed too. But if you use beautiful language, if you use correct to the point language, that gets noticed too. And when that gets noticed, that puts you in an advantage. Okay. So say you have been doing that consistently, and there might be a situation where your college or your professional workplace needs some professional work to be done. You might be chosen as an apt candidate to do that, right? Because you have a grasp on your basics, right? So you want to kind of go more into the formal way of writing. So we know that there are like few very common things why we need to write letters, right? It is very basic. We know, like, okay, I have some function at home, or I have a doctor's appointment, I have something. Basically, I want to go home. That is my requirement. Okay. Now, for this, um, the subject is very simple. It is an application, right? It might be an application for a leave or an application for a job. So your subject should be very simple, like application for leave from. If you mention from and the date, it makes it even more clearer. But instead of saying something like, I want to go home for my sister's wedding, or I want to go home for a doctor's appointment, you write very formally, like application for leave from so and so date. Okay, that makes it sound very formal, very professional. Also, if you see in the example right here on the screen, you can see besides subject, the capitalization that I have used for application for leave. So this kind of capitalization is called camel case, okay, where all the first letters are capitalized. Now, from is a trivial word. It is not important in this situation, from and the date. So that is not capitalized. But camel case is kind of one of the ways to capitalize your subject line, okay? Then that is one of the um, examples. What about job? What would you write for job? Maybe, for example, application for job for position of maybe assistant teacher or staff nurse or something like that, right? Now, the next one, as an example, what to write in the subject is permission, right? First is an application for a job or a leave. Next one we have is a permission. Now you are in a college setting. So say you have some lab equipment, some projectors, something that you want to use, right? And you want to give, say it is a requirement of your college to kind of write a permission request. So you kind of write a subject as permission to use overhead projector for a class presentation. So it could be permission for different kinds of things. Kind of research that you need to do, but you cannot do it without the permission of your principal or your class teacher, something like that. So permission to perform research for XYZ, right? So there are different kinds of things why you might need permission. The next would be request for information. Okay, this could be about anything, about certain kind of product. Maybe you are procuring something for your college, or maybe you're procuring something for your organization when you're working. Procuring is buying, if you're buying something, but you need information about the product. Okay, so in that case, what you would do is you would write a request for information kind of letter. And what would your subject be in that case? Request for information about maybe personal computer model ABC, whatever. This could be anything, maybe related to the medical field, some stationery, some whatever. Okay, but this is basically requesting for certain kind of information. May also be information related to some medical procedure. I don't know, like, maybe. The third, well, like fourth kind would be like filing a complaint. Maybe there is a lot of noise near your college, maybe some construction work going on, and you want to kind of solve the situation by asking them to move their timings or something like that. Okay, so you're kind of filing a complaint. So complain about excessive noise near college premises. Okay, very formal. This is the way you would write to maybe the owner of the organization who is kind of doing the construction work or whatever, as an example. All right. The whole point here is like you may not even ever come across a situation where you might actually need to file a complaint, right? Or you may be like, I never file complaints. Okay, true, but it's just as an example to help you get into the formal mode of writing. Okay, next is placing an order. Okay, now you might also say, I don't buy stuff. Okay, by placing, writing letters, but what if you're buying for an organization, maybe for your college? So you need something formal, right? Then order placement for whatever. Letter of apology. I really hope you don't ever have to write one of these, right? But you never know. There might be a case where it was an unintended damage done by you, right? Unintended, somebody got harmed or disadvantaged or whatever because of some kind of your behavior. You didn't even mean it for that to happen, but unfortunately the only way to go forward is you need your letter of apology. Well, what will your subject be? Seeking apology for unintended damage, maybe to property or whatever. Okay, so these are just kind of examples of what you would write in your subject. Okay, so hopefully, whenever you might need to write a letter to your class coordinator, to your you begin to go the formal mode and begin to write better subject lines. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Okay, what to write in the content, right? Now, moving on from the subject to the content. The first thing that comes in the content is salutation, right? A lot of times we kind of make this mistake of writing respected ma'am in MAM, right? So first of all, either you use madam, right, more formally, or even if you're saying ma'am, the correct way is MA apostrophe and AM. That's how the correct spelling of ma'am is, right? So you do that, and then you move on to your introduction, right? So your introduction will be like the example letter that we had. I, Neeta Shah, am a student of the first year of commerce in College of Commerce, Nagar. Whatever. Okay, this is just a sample. So that is your introduction and your clear purpose. Okay? Clear purpose. So even the introduction part, I'm going to focus more on this in the article section, like where you use where you use the, where you use certain kind of prepositions. Okay, more of that to come. Then the clear purpose when you write the content. Okay, in the purpose, you've already stated in the subject that you want a leave, but what is your leave for, right? When you're in a formal environment, it does not suffice just to say that I want a leave and can you grant me a leave. right? That is not just rude or informal or unprofessional, but also the person who needs to sanction your leave needs to know why. You are their responsibility for the time that you're paying your fees and being under them, learning from them. It is their responsibility to make sure that your learning is successful, right? So, in lieu of that, you need to provide them with valid reasons, right? So that they can decide whether to grant you the leave or not, right? Your language should be convincing, of course, and hopefully the reason should be true as well, not just convincing language. But so the request is, I would like to request for a leave for 2 days from this date to this date as I have a doctor's appointment. Okay. Now, more details, right? Additional details. That is the purpose. Now, additional details, I will need to go to my, I will need to be traveling to my hometown. Maybe you could add additional details of if the medical procedure permits you to tell, or if the reason permits you to tell. It might be very simple, like you want to go home for a Diwali celebration. So there is nothing wrong in mentioning that. But maybe it might be private, like you don't want to mention what it is. So for a private matter, if you are able to confide in it, maybe you can confide personally, not in written. So you want to leave those details out. But whatever additional details you're able to give in the letter in a formal structure, right? You can provide that. The next is a backup plan. Okay. So now you are ready to go for your leave. Well, what about your duties, right? You are responsible for that. Now, you don't have to wait for your class coordinator, your principal to ask you, well, then, like back and forth communication. You want to go for these 2 days. Who's going to do your duties? Or you have this assignment. When are you going to give that? So you don't want to wait for that. You plan that I will submit my assignment before I leave. Write that in your letter too. Okay, that is very, very reassuring for your teacher, for your principal, that well, this person is responsible for his or her duties, for his or her portion of work that he needs to do. So you can mention that I will be submitting my assignments before I leave. Well, if there are some duty hours that you need to make up, I plan to make up my duty hours in at X and X date. Or I do not know exactly what kind of tasks that you guys need to do, but whatever your tasks are, right? Since you're going for a leave, you are missing out on certain things. So write your plan of action in the letter too. Let me tell you, that will be very reassuring for your teacher, and it will look very good for you as a professional, because you're thinking ahead of time, right? You are not just going to enjoy for the leave, but you're also making sure that you're taking responsibility. Next would be the towards the end, right? You want to follow up or summarize your request. So kindly grant permission for that, thanking you in anticipation. I look forward to your permission. All those kind, nice, sweet things, right? You want them to be happy towards the end and grant you the permission. So write in really sweet, good formal language, right? Which will help you to get some leads, hopefully. Then, now, a few points about tenses, right? This is a very basic example. Past tense, we know. Now we are doing sister's wedding assignment, right? So past tense would be, I went for my sister's wedding last year. Present tense would be, I am at my sister's wedding now. What we are looking forward to is, I will be going to my sister's wedding next week, right? So the request that you're going to be asking in your letter will have to be past tense, like for a leave application, right? The example I've given below, future tense, is leave application. A leave application is usually in the future, right? Far out, in the, not far out, it could be immediate future too, but it is a future tense one. What could be a past tense one? A past tense would be an apology letter, something you already did, So I'm sorry for what I did, or I apologize for what I did in the past. Or if a complaint letter, maybe something has happened and you are disturbed by it, you are disadvantaged by it, you want to file a complaint. So that could be like something that has happened in the past. So when you're writing your sentences, make sure you reflect that. Present tense would be request for information, like you want something right now, like something is ongoing, you're buying something, that process is going on right now, you're requesting them for information. That could possibly be in the present tense. Okay, so just a note about tenses. Next would be, okay, now asking permission. Okay, there is a concept in grammar which we call as modal verbs, right? What are modal verbs? Examples: can, could, may, might, should, would. Okay, so when we are seeking permission in while speaking, right, we kind of directly use these words, right? What are some of the examples? Can I take a break? Okay, maybe I should ask that for 1 second. Okay, I just need water break. So how that perfectly timed. Okay, so maybe can I take a break, or would be with could I have your pen, may I go to the bathroom, might I sit here, should I help you with this, or would you like me to help, right? These are some of the words that you might use when you're asking permission, right? While speaking. But is this how you would use it in written communication? No, right? This is not how you would write it in the letter. So some ways that you might write a letter, like permission in the letter, right? In applications. So for example, I would like to visit my hometown for the maybe Diwali celebration or any kinds of examples, for my exams, for appointments, for functions, etc. I kindly request you to grant me permission for the same. Okay, this is a very formal and good way of saying it. So I'll of course be sharing the PPT with you, so you can kind of directly use some of these sentences in your letters, but also kind of see these as an examples for other letters that you might want to use. Also, the internet like is full of examples. Your grammar textbooks might be full of examples for how you might seek permission, right? Particular needs. Next would be like, I would like your permission to attend a conference, right? Say, this is just the first year, but like as you progress, you might need to be part of certain conferences. You might want to attend something that will advance your knowledge in nursing or other fields, right? But you might need to take permission so to attend a conference. If you observe, I would like, that is one phrase that is repeating a lot of times, right? Another one that you could possibly use would, I was hoping to visit my family, requesting you to kindly grant me permission for the visit, right? You're asking permission for something, right? Then I shall be obliged if my request is granted. That is another way of kindly asking for permission. I would like to apply for the job titled technical staff, or I would like to apply for the position of assistant teacher. This is just some of the ways that you seek permission, or you apply for a leave or job or certain things like that. Okay. Now, an important and confusing part is articles, right? This is one of the grammar concepts which is confused a lot most of the time. So, okay. Now, I've given a few sentences here, as an example. Okay. This is a sentence that you might need to write like endless number of times, right? And for your purposes. I am in the first year of the BSc nursing course at the College of Nursing. So observe the way you would have said it and how it is written here. Do you think there are too many number of the, right? But all of these are important those. Okay, if you miss these, if you eat this up, these those up, it is, first of all, it is grammatically incorrect. It does not sound right to make sure that you use the articles in the appropriate places. So the second sentence example is, I am a student. Now, if you see in the first sentence, the student part is missing. Okay. But in the second sentence, when I add the student part, I am saying I am a student in the first year. I am not the student. Okay. Why is that? Okay, we will see that. I am a student in the first year of the BSc nursing course at the College of Nursing. Okay. Also, in the next example, I have an appointment. Okay. Now here is where we have a clue. An appointment, and it's indefinite. You're not mentioning about a fixed appointment. That is when you use an or a. Okay, these are indefinite articles. A and an. These two are indefinite articles, whereas the is a definite article. See in the second example, I have to go to the dentist appointment, right? So this one is a fixed appointment. You know that it is the dentist appointment. You're telling them, like in your letter or in your written communication, that it is the dentist appointment. I know which appointment it is. Okay. That is where you use the, because it is definite. Whereas an appointment is, it is a random appointment. I don't know, or I'm not disclosing it. In that case, you use an appointment, right? Now, in the two sentences above, why is student denoted with a, right? Because there are n number of students, right? You're part of that. So a student, but the first year of the nursing college and the BSc nursing course and the College of Nursing are fixed. They are definite, okay? There are not like hundreds of first year course, right? There is one definite first year course. There is one definite BSc nursing course. And there is one definite College of Nursing that you are talking about, of course, right? But a student, there are innumerable students, right? So I am a student of the first year of the BSc nursing course at the College of Nursing, okay? Hopefully this will give you like basic idea of when to use a and an compared to the, right? So a and an are indefinite and the is a definite article. All right. Now moving on to another concept. Probably this is the last one. Punctuation. Now punctuation marks, full stop, exclamation, and like, you know, a lot of other things, which of course you can deep dive in like each one of them. But there is just one which I wanted to bring up, which is related to plurals and possessive. Now, uh, see the two examples given below, right? There are many cars. That says plural. That means there are a lot of cars. But this is the car's wheel. So the car's wheel shows that there is something that belongs to the car. The car is possessing the wheel. That means it is in its possession. That is when the words are same, right? To here, it is the same word, cars, cars. But what makes all the difference is the apostrophe S, right? The apostrophe is a punctuation which is not used correctly a lot of times, right? So when you're trying to show possession, that means you possess something, or X person possesses something. Possesses means what? That thing belongs to them, right? This is for the next example below. This is Neeta's car, right? So that is where you use the apostrophe and the S, right? So that is somewhere where you show possession. But if you want to say like a lot of, for example, uh, books, or not books wouldn't be a good example. Uh, Pens, like PENS, pens. That would mean there are many pens. But the pen's lid, if you want to talk about the cover of the pen, how would you write that? PEN apostrophe S. That would mean that this lid belongs to pen. That means possession, right? This wheel or knee, you use apostrophe S. So this is just one more of the basic rule. Okay. Yeah. This is the last of the concept checks that I wanted to bring up. Now, part of today's session, we also want if you can actually. So, ma'am, do the students right now have their paper, pencil, pens, whatever along with them?
Yes, ma'am. Vincy, ma'am.
Okay. So, yeah.
Vincy, ma'am. Just a minute, ma'am. I'll just confirm. Vincy, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Students are ready with paper and pen?
Yes. Prashansa, they have it.
Okay. So, have that sample letter open. And you can just write down the question. It is very simple, that you have a sister, a hypothetical sister. Okay. This is the question. Now you want to request your principal, or I don't know if you guys write to your class coordinators maybe, or your class teacher maybe. So whoever it is that you usually write the letter to, I'm going to open the sample letter and keep it there. And we'll just write a sample letter, right? Quickly, maybe just 5 minutes. You don't even have to go into the date and the address and all of that too much. Okay, just the subject, the content, closing remarks, and sign, maybe salutation. That's it. Okay. uh, it is not going to be graded or marked. It's just for your practice to see whether you have understood the concepts, whether something is clicking or not, right? It is just basically a small practice before we move on. Maybe we'll just give it like less than 5 minutes, 2-3 minutes, right? Okay, ma'am, is that okay? Can we go ahead and do that? I'll just keep this page open, maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In the meantime, if there are any questions or something also, maybe from the staff members or from anybody, or you can even think of it to ask later on, maybe if time permits. Maybe just a couple of minutes more. Okay, we are at about 4 to 5 minutes. So I'm going to move on. It is okay if you have not finished. We also have a couple of more assignments that we are looking to finish, but which you have to do, of course, at your own pace. Okay, let me go to those. I will just read those out. Okay, then there is an apology letter coming up. Okay, of course, you've not done anything wrong. You've been good students listening to the lecture, but just in case, our principal apologizing for a misconduct in the premises of the college. Maybe you were running around making too much noise, whatever. You can make up the situation and just write a letter of apology. Okay, this is in your own free time. Okay. The next one would be, of course, something more important, something which you definitely might need in your future, right? This would be an assignment to write a cover letter to a prospective employer applying for a position at their organization. Think of your dream job, right? Where you would like to go, which hospital you would like to be in, or which college of nursing you might do your further studies in, or some location abroad where you might go to work or to study. Keep that in mind and write a cover letter to them, right? Requesting them for the position, requesting them for um, uh, entrance into their course of study, whatever it is. Okay, this one might be important for you, right? It even as not just as practice, but also as a dream, what you call realization of a dream, right, for the future. Next, we'll quickly go on to email writing. Email writing is also like all of the things that we already discussed apply to this, but we're just going to quickly in 2 minutes run through this, right? Parts of an email almost kind of similar to um, parts of a letter. Subject. What is different is the two. All of this. CC is a carbon copy, that is the exact copy goes to whoever it is. And a BCC is a blind carbon copy, that is you don't want others to see that person, that is a BCC. Then would be greetings, of course, just as usual. Content of it. The closing, right? This one is a little more, it is a little less wordy than a letter, right? But still formal. and your signature, and of course, certain attachments that go with the email. Okay. Good to make a last minute check, right? What will you check if your two CC, BCC are correct? Sometimes you might have some person that you don't really intend to. It's always before you hit the send button, it is always good to check to CC. Also, the attachments, right? Whether you say in the email that, okay, I have attached so and so document, and you actually forgot to attach it. That is so sad, right? The person will have to write back to you. When will you read it? You'll send them back. But the best thing would be that you just give it a check. Okay, I said I'm going to attach. Have I attached it? And another good check would be your spelling and grammar, right? And there is a tip that I mentioned here is you can set up your email in such a way, your email box in such a way that they will always, before you, when you hit the send button, it will always give you a pop-up saying that, are you sure you want to check? That will not show up unless you set it up. So make sure you set it up so that, you know, your last minute goof ups can be avoided. Okay. Then for the email, I have some assignments too, which of course we are not going to do now, but you have the PPT, so you can do it at your own time. Okay. Uh, Write an email providing a reason for your absence last week. Email to your class teacher with details and attachments of an assignment. I think you might already be doing all of this. Again, now it is a very good thing if you can make your resume or your CV, right? Something that you will have to do in the future when you need to apply for jobs and things like that. Okay, it is good to start thinking about it, what skills you need to have and things like that, right? And now, some final tips, okay? So before we close the session, just very briefly, I want to inspire you to go on this journey of, you know, making your contributions to improving your own language, right? Study your grammar thoroughly. It will not be wasted time, right? It is going to help you a lot in the future. So I've given a lot of interviews, not just in India, but abroad. And I know that the one distinguishing factor between two individuals applying is your communication skills. It will lead you to a higher ground. It will give you a competitive edge. And it is going to be a very important tool in your toolbox, right? Your patient care skills, of course, are number one. But the second most advantageous thing is going to be is how you write, how you speak. Okay. Secondly, you can use YouTube for learning grammar, right? There are endless number of videos which will teach you grammar. Like, go to some good ones and use it, like, you know, few minutes a day. Invest in yourself in learning the language. Okay. A Merriam-Webster dictionary on your phone is a must. Okay. It is a free app. Whenever you come across a new word, of course, your medical books are full of new words, terminologies, right? For those words, as well as if you read an English word which you came across, which you don't know the meaning of, just type it into the Merriam-Webster dictionary app on your phone, and there you have that word. Okay. Even to this day, I use it endlessly, almost every day. If I come across a new word, I will find it in the dictionary and I will try to use it, see how it sounds, right? Then install Grammarly, right? On your phone, on your laptop. You have a free version as well, right? You don't need subscription version for your personal use. You can use the free version, right? On your phone, especially when you're typing, right? Even if you want to write a handwritten letter, type it out first in your phone. Make sure all the grammar errors are gone, right? And see what errors you made and then rectify them, right? Learn new words, right? That you will do for yourself, right? Maybe learn one new word a day or a week, whatever it is, right? You're beginning your journey. The more you invest in it, the beneficial it will be, right? Find a friend to speak in English, right? We usually find friends who are of our language, right? And we'll stick to them, talk our language. We feel very comfortable. But find a friend who will go with you on this journey. right? यार मुझे इंग्लिश में बात करना है, हाँ माझ्याशी इंग्लिश मध्ये बोलतेस का आज, right? These things where you both kind of have that passion to improve your language, right? Okay, so today onwards we are going to talk in English, right? For whatever. So find a friend who will go on that journey with you to better your skills. That is the best way to practice, right? And read to lead, right? Not just medical books. Try and get some storybooks. I don't know if you have the time, or the newspaper or whatever. Skim through it, read it, right? There is a very famous Marathi saying, right? Vatsal tar vatsal. That means if you read, you'll be saved, right? So invest in your reading, expand your horizons, and I hope that you will do better in your English. So I believe that is all that I have. I hope you all the best. And if there are any questions, of course, you can contact through your staff member. And it was definitely a privilege to share my knowledge with you. And I'm open to if there are any questions, or that is it from my side.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let me stop sharing. Okay. Yeah.
Mike. It was excellent. I'm sure the students have understood. Yes, students? Yeah. Did you hear their response? How
Yes.
was the class?
Very much.
Okay. So they like your class, and I'm sure the PowerPoint presentation will be shared with everyone, and definitely they will use it in their, daily they have to write something or the other, and definitely this grammar which will help them to write properly. And thank you so much for giving your time. Yeah. Salome, would you like to say something?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, surely. Thank you, ma'am. I'm Ms. Tendune Salome, Associate Professor at Dr. Vittal Rao Vikhe Patil College of Nursing, Ahmednagar. Would like to express our gratitude on behalf of the organization and the Institute of College of Nursing. Thank you, ma'am, for speaking to the students about the written communication. Really, we were thinking of it, and I think Principal ma'am had made a right choice by suggesting your name. And really, it was an interesting session, not only for the students, but also for the faculty. I hope every one of us will try to improve in our written skills by your lecture. We really appreciate you for making the time from your busy schedule, ma'am. Also, we would like to appreciate that in spite of the time zone differences, you still managed your time and have spared your valuable time with us. Thank you, ma'am, again. And again, we hope to have some sessions ahead with you all again. Thank you. I'm really grateful on behalf of the Institute, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And yes, I hope to for some more sessions.
Yeah, surely we'll look ahead, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Prashant is saying something. She is my daughter, and she is author of 3 books, and we are proud of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And definitely, if you need any help anytime again regarding English, she will definitely help us. Okay, and now because we are having exam, right? After 2 months, you people will be writing your exam. So definitely this English will help you in writing your exam. Okay. Once again, thank you, Prashansa.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, bye.